in Jordan. She's also an alum of one of our very prestigious cultural exchange programs, the Eisenhower Fellowship, as well as the IVLP. So I'm going to turn it over to her. She will lead the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Maha. Masal khair, good evening. I'll be speaking in English. There's simultaneous translation, as you know. So when I was researching you, Googling you, there were many interesting aspects to your life and journey that I wanted to highlight in my introduction, so it's not really a conventional bio. Let me start by saying you are a daughter of immigrants from Ecuador who came to the United States. She's also an athlete. She swims, runs, bikes, and she raises funds for entrepreneurs. President Obama appointed her as a presidential ambassador for global entrepreneurship in 2014. She's one of the United States 100 most intriguing entrepreneurs. And she's a sought-after speaker and a thought leader and definitely an inspiration, who with her dynamic leadership for over 20 years, of course we started very young, she propelled a small company. I read you started with $300, IT company, to a $1 billion worth group called Pinnacle Group. 1 million in 2016, maybe it's more now. She generates through her group annually 250 million. So guys, this is the person to look up to.
She's rich.
To solve all the problems. And we're very, very excited to have you here, Nina. And allow me to start maybe by asking you, why did you start this?
That's a great question. Can everybody hear me okay? Now you can hear me, correct?
Better.
Perfect. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for the kind invitation to be here today. Thank you, Maha Aruba. Thank you for your contributions to this event. And I do want to take the time to thank the U.S. Embassy and the Department of State, who are the real reason I'm here. Haley and Ryan are here. Let's give them a big round of applause. I always say personal relationships and communication reign supreme. Haley and I were sitting in Vietnam almost a year ago when she brought up the idea of going to Jordan. And had we not created that friendship, had we not created that human connection, I would not be here today. So I want to thank Haley one more time. I've been in Jordan a little over 24 hours now, and I have to tell you what an amazing and beautiful country you have. Not just in the country, but in its people. This is my last of many events tonight, and I have had the opportunity to visit with members of parliament. I've had the opportunity to visit some schools, some programs, and I've also had the opportunity to engage with some of the most powerful women in Jordan. We just left entrepreneurs too, and now I get the opportunity. They save the best for last, right? And the reason I say that is because you're here as a volunteer, but know that 70% of leadership is just showing up. Because you never know who you will meet, you'll never know how they will change your life, and you never know what will become of that. So I want to thank you for taking the time to be here. You're right, I am a very blessed woman. I am here with an open heart and an open mind to answer your questions. I don't have a canned speech for you. I just have my story. I come from extremely humble beginnings, and I'm living proof right here that if you're willing to make the right sacrifices, you can achieve something bigger than yourself in life. I'm here to answer any of your questions and to tell you how in the world a 5-foot Ecuadorian becomes one of the most influential Hispanics in America and builds a company to be the fastest growing woman-owned business in the country. You guys all ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be asking a few questions, but then at the end we'll open the floor, or not even at the end, before that, we'll open the floor for your questions. So please start thinking of that $1 million question you want to ask.
I just realized I never answered her question.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I was too busy talking about my day. I told you I didn't have a prepared speech. And by the way, I'm not a professional speaker. I'm just an ordinary woman who is incredibly blessed in life and now willing to spend time traveling around the world, telling people my story. But you asked me a very important question, and that is, why? Why did you start this business? So I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My mother and father immigrated from Quito, Ecuador to the United States, so they were immigrants. They came with a suitcase and a dream, and my father worked 3 jobs, sometimes 4 jobs. He had very little sleep. They had 5 children, and so it took them a while. But eventually, my parents found their way to the American dream through entrepreneurship. So it's all I've ever known, because my father came from a family of 12, and most of his family immigrated. So we were a family of immigrants. So my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, my other uncle, my other aunt, we're all entrepreneurs. In many ways, immigrants come to America and they don't have the networks. They don't have sometimes even the friendships. And so you begin to start creating opportunity for yourself. So that's all I've ever seen growing up, is my uncles, my aunts, entrepreneurship. And so my father he brought a computer. He eventually became an entrepreneur, and that's how they found their American dream. And so I saw a computer when I was 15 years old. And I was very curious, because my father's business was a very manual business. It was a telephone, and you'd have a big book, and you'd look through the airlines and call the airlines. He owned a travel agency. So when I saw the computer, I was like, I was the first to get a college education in my family, and I knew I had to do something of it. I lost my father when I was 17, and so to finally answer your question, why did I begin? I began because I wanted to find a vehicle for prosperity for my family. We grew up very humble. When my father died, he left a world of debt, 5 children behind, and no will. And so I had to figure out, how can I help my family prosper? I know somewhere in my bio it probably says I was some sort of genius that knew that information technology would be incredibly prevalent to large corporations, but I didn't travel thousands of miles to come lie to you. And the real truth is, yes, I was some sort of genius. No, the truth is I was at the right place at the right time. I was smart enough to know to get into information technology because I had seen it transform my father's business, and I was entrepreneurial enough to say, how can I take this need in the marketplace and how can I begin to grow? But so my reasons were personal, but I put everything together like a good entrepreneur. I found a need and I went with it. I finally answered your question. Did I answer the question?
Now I know they say, you are a sought after speaker. Definitely we can